When I was first introduced to Memories Retold, I had nothing but sketches, like artworks and sketches for the story when I met with Aardman and DigixArt. And that's the best that can happen to a composer, in my opinion, because I could get the full sense of the beginning of a project and of what would become almost a piece of art. So I learned the first time we met that they wanted to do something that was radical in terms of visuals, and it meant that they would create living paintings. And it was very refreshing for me, for it was the first time that I was asked to score a living painting. And then Johan Fannies, who is a very passionate when it comes to World War I, told me that he wanted to create a fictional story within these historical events. So Stephen Long and Ian Sharkey, the two writers, took over. And basically, we wrote, so them, the writers, the story, Aardman, the visuals, and me, the music. We all ended up telling the story through our own craft. For the World War I sort of dimension, we needed an orchestra. But also the orchestra was needed because we needed colors. Here we have an orchestra that is, I'd say, limited in terms of the brass section to one trumpet. But this very trumpet is one of the key of the game because it represents not only the war sort of call that we all know at the time period they were, using trumpets calls, but also to impersonate one of the characters who is Major Bear.
For adventure, for fun. Some of you may even believe in this war.
Stick with me, Harry! For king, for country, for glory! Come on, Harry, it's just fun! Get those
And basically, I wanted to support each character with music as a complement of what the writers were telling, and the gameplay was describing, and the visuals were showing.
Dear Catherine, I've done something I know you will not agree with. It's about Max. It's about our son.
Then what was very crucial to me was the sound of the orchestra. And it came very early that it had to be very genuine. I remember talking with Bram, the art director. He wanted to hear the musicians. He wanted to have a sort of connection with the musicians. So instead of going with a recording that would requires a lot of processing like reverb and compression and EQ, we wanted to get the best genuine recording from an orchestra. And we worked with the Philharmonia in London. They're a tremendous musician, incredible orchestra, famous orchestra, and very classical orchestra. And we went to Abbey Road because only in Abbey Road we can have such recording. I've worked with John Callender. He's one of the greatest sound engineer And basically what he's done, and it could sound trivial, but this is very difficult. He made a classical recording of the orchestra. So there is just few mics that are getting the overall sound, and what you hear actually in the game or on the soundtrack is the most genuine, authentic sound an orchestra can be. And although you can look at the screen by telling, wow, it's a living paintings, you can also hear that the music is very, very, very unique sounding. And I really enjoyed working with the Philharmonia, and I have all the respect for those musicians. They were amazing. The performance was beyond my hopes, and going Abbey Road is always a treat. But for this very recording, it was not a treat. It was the only place we could go. So I'm very happy.